a final one from Dean on this, and then we'll move on to Sonia McLeod, who's been very patient.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Dr. Vaughan. My question is just about this culture of learning that we've touched upon. We live in a digital age, and it sounds to me, from everything we've heard so far, is that this is very much about a person-to-person reporting up concerns and issues. And as I understand it, the NHS has well over 1 million members of staff. Has there been any investigation or look at the use of technology to enable people to who are staff anonymously report concerns or share learnings or identify areas for an improvement? And if that has been looked at, I'd be interested to find out. If not, is there a thought on why? And my attached question to that is that is there a concern, do you think, that actually if every member of staff shared a learning or a concern about issues, that actually it could open a Pandora's box of problems that actually it's easier to be ignorant of rather than actually address?
I think the first important thing to say there is that actually there should be a presumption of good intention until we go anywhere else. Most staff, when they come in the NHS, they're coming in to do a good day's work. And when you look at error, and I'm not an expert in error, but I know people who have, when they've looked at those, they found that, there are hundreds and thousands of errors that could happen each day, and they only don't happen because of the good intentions of the staff. And the other worry is that we shouldn't be driven just by outcome. We become suddenly very focused on if someone dies or some awful thing happens. But actually our approach, whether something doesn't happen or it does happen, should always be consistent in each case. And bringing that consistency in is really fundamentally important, because if you don't do that, you end up with people just being horribly reactive to when bad things happen. And that's why you get the culture of fear. I think technology has a great deal to do with this. And we already have the Datix system in our hospitals where people can register things. But I can tell you, and you won't be surprised about this at all, if I told you that Datix is also used as a weapon in healthcare. And I have a feeling that if I wandered into a Swedish hospital, that wouldn't be the case. So they are obviously doing something really right there. And we need to just have a look, very careful look, and look at how we do it, because we've got the stuff in place. We've got Datix, we've got the right, we've got committed staff who in general have good intentions. And it's about using all of that. And I absolutely believe that I know that if you look at, particularly in maternity, if you look at a lot of the times when things have got wrong, simple things like the doctor there didn't have the full notes of that patient's pregnancy, wasn't aware that the baby wasn't growing, quite well at this stage because they didn't have the notes, and they were dealing with all sorts of other things at the same time. Very simple things like streamlining patients' notes, having access to full electronic notes, I think would help that. So there are very simple errors that actually software and technology could really help us with. But it's not all the answer. It's not the whole answer. The answer has to include good intentions, not just being focused on bad outcomes, and trusting staff, and really studying hard, other nations who have obviously got this, they've got this just culture more in place than we have, and learning from them.